Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are watching this. Welcome to Heart of Christ Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Shaun Robert Grant, and it has been a minute. Um, got some changes here working for you. What else? Let's just pop into it right away. So I decided to just take some time away off of social media. And it's been a really good decision. So if you tried to contact me there, send me an email instead, because that would be better. Because I just, and this is just me personally. And I mean, everybody, of course, sees this in a different capacity. But for me, what I realized, and I realized this last year when I took time away from it, was it sort of takes away from my mental energy, my mental strength, my ability to be creative to the highest potential possible. And so in realizing that, I had to make an executive decision, so to speak, and not allow myself to be caught up and losing mental energy, losing creative energy. So you know what? I said, I'm taking a break from it. So what's cool is that this video is linked to my Facebook and to my YouTube. So you'll still see me in that regard. But as far as like posting and stuff like that, I hadn't been on it in like 3 days. So probably 3 or 4 days. And it's amazing the difference you see when you do that. So that's on me. That's my decision. That's my choice. So that's kind of, if you're wondering where I've been, that's where I've been at. All right. What else we got here working? Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Everything is great. Getting prepared for Thanksgiving. Got a great message for you here. Been doing a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, a lot of introspection that is ready to really help me to deliver an amazing message today without a shadow of a doubt. And I just feel like I'm getting better one day at a time. And so that makes me happy. I hope the same for you. And so before we get into our message today, which deals a lot with the mental aspect of life, what I'm going to do is take care of some business real quick. Like I said, I'm not on social media at the moment, and will probably be not on social media for the extended period of time. So if you have anything you'd like to message me, correspond with the ministry, send it to ShaunG04@gmail.com. Or if you're a friend of mine, you have my text messages. You have my number, you can text message me. Other than that, anything else, I'm probably not going to be available. So with that being said, if you have a prayer request, if you have any type of questions that I can help you with in answering, feel free to write to us at ShaunG04@gmail.com, and I will get to you as soon as I possibly can. Trying to wean off of email just as much, but checking that a couple times a day. It's amazing what happens to your life when you're able to remove some stuff out, So with that being said, write to us. Don't hesitate. And then also here, if you feel Heart of Christ Ministry has benefited you, or Shaun Robert Grant has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, guys, don't hesitate to sow a seed today. Venmo, Heart of Christ Ministry, PayPal, ShaunG04@gmail.com. And then you got Apple Pay upon request. All those are available for you if you feel like you've been inspired and uplifted and fulfilled by Heart of Christ Ministry or Shaun Robert Grant. All right. So got that out the way. Let's rock and roll. Something I hadn't done in a while that I'm excited to do now, again, is where's my abundance? And so I mentioned that today's message was about mental strength, mental aspect. We live in a mental world governed by spiritual concepts. And so what that means is that your mind is controlling everything in your world. Your mind is truly giving you back what you're giving to it. And we've done this time and time again throughout these messages. If you don't have control of your mind, you're going to have a tough challenge to deal with life as it comes along, because your thought, your stream of consciousness, your incessant thought, your dominant thoughts and beliefs are what is basically allowing whatever's showing up to show up in your life, whatever it may be. There's a mental equivalent there for that thing. So With that being said, Where's My Abundance is perfect because what I'm going to get you to do is focus on something that's of an abundant, happy, prosperous, joyful nature. And if you feel up to it, you can recite what it is in the comments, share for everybody, inspire them to do abundance. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. Like always, getting back to this habit, I love doing this part because, we all need to really focus on what we're grateful for, what we're abundant, what makes us feel abundant. And that's super important. Okay. So give you 30 seconds. Where's my abundance? Welcome back. All right. Where's my abundance? If you got it, put it into the comments. If not, keep it to yourself. Be grateful for it. Where's my abundance is all about gratitude. It's all about the idea of you seeing what's present in your life as opposed to what's not present in your life. That's a mind trick. But anyway, so my abundance, what I'm most grateful for is a strong mind, okay? Between COVID-19, between the election, between every bit of adversity I have experienced in my life, I can tell you, I've always been mentally strong to be able to overcome it, to be able to be, have a mindset of knowing that everything's going to work out for the best. And that's my abundance. That's what I love. That's what I'm grateful for. Hopefully that inspired you to understand where's your abundance. And once again, if you have it, put it into the comments and we'll go from there. Okay. All right. Today's message, Heart of Christ Ministry presents How to Succeed in a Mental World Led by Spiritual Concepts. So you just saw me talk pretty much the first 6.5 minutes about the importance of the mind, importance of the mental aspect of life. There's a big reason why I got off of social media, because my mind, the battle for your mind is an epic battle that is being fought over every single day by advertising, by media, by social media. It's all there to capture, right? To capture your attention. Why? Because attention is the sauce of life. Attention is what makes things grow and magnify and expand. You ever hear the saying? We've heard it here. If you've watched a few times, energy flows where attention goes. That's the truth. So there's always a battle that, like, even YouTube, you get like these ads and stuff, and like all this stuff is just battling to control your mind, to get you to move in a certain way. But you know what you got to do? You've got to take back control. And today we're going to take back control. And what I've done is I've taken stuff from from the Bible, and I've really kind of put in a method to help you to see that these spiritual concepts will help you to succeed in this world, because what it does is it encourages you to really nurture and cultivate a mind of so much strength, so much power, so much toughness. And it's important to do that, because if we don't do that, we fall by the wayside and we become victims of having our minds controlled by so many things around us, right? It's astronomical when we think about all the things vying for our attention, but you have the choice and you get to decide who and what you're going to give it to. All right. So let's get into our message for today. How to succeed in a mental world led by spiritual concepts. And number one, if you're familiar with the Bible, you'll know this one. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Paul said, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so what does that mean? So I'll give you an idea of what my morning looks like. I wake up, the alarm goes off at 5:30, feed the cats, brush my teeth. I get down to meditate about 5:40 or so, right? I stay in meditation for about 35 minutes, just meditation. And in that meditation, what I'm doing is I start off connecting to the divine. And that's just basically focusing on the essence of the divine within me. And then I find a phrase that makes me mentally strong, mentally tough, and a phrase that helps me to be on point with whatever unfolds throughout the day, right? So I'm taking a proactive stance before my day even begins. And what that does is that renews my mind from anything that may be lingering through dreamland, through the night before. What I do is I take control. I transform. I'm transformed because I renew my mind and I send that energy screaming throughout the day, right? And it's so important. Tony Robbins said it the best. He says, your morning is your hour of power, or power hour. And so many other people have said certain things about it. But the important thing is that you take that hour to really connect yourself to what it is you want from your life and what it is you want to see from your life, right? So for me, the most important thing is connection to the divine, peace, understanding freedom, right? Prosperity, because the more I prosper, the more I can help people, right? And so all those things come into play. And I do this thing called pulling, which is a heart exercise that really helps you open up your heart, but more importantly, align your mind, body, and spirit being your heart, to the goals that you have at hand, right? And one of the last things I do is I understand now, well, I understand for a while, the universe's primary objectives for every single individual is self-actualization and unconditional love. Okay. Self-actualization and unconditional love. What I do is I surrender to that objective of the universe and I let it be the guiding force in my life. Why? Because I know, regardless of what happens, regardless of anything, the universe is operating under unconditional love and self-actualization. Every single thing that I experience is all about those concepts, right? That's all to it. And knowing that immediately helps me to take a stance of, okay, this is what I'm going to experience on top of what I've affirmed and what I've focused on in my meditation. And the whole point of meditation and prayer is to get yourself to concentrate on that which is going to renew your mind. That is which is going to give your mind something fresh. And we'll get to that because there's a scripture or a saying, a quote that pretty much sums that up. But I'll get to that in just a bit. Let me go to number 2 here. So God has not given you a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind, right? So what is a sound mind? Okay. So when you really think about what's a healthy mind, right? A sound mind is a healthy mind. What's a healthy mind? A healthy mind is a mind that is not crippled by outside influences, a mind that is not easily taken astray by something charged up with emotion, a mind that is able to encounter anything that unfolds in front of it, right? And so we aren't necessarily, well, actually we are born with this, but then conditioning sort of takes us out of that element to where it keeps us more rooted in our emotions. So if you look at advertising and you look at things in the media, what's the primary thing that they do? They try to put you into your emotions because what they're banking on is that if they create a strong enough emotion in you, it will affect your thoughts. And that's what usually happens when you're not in control of your emotions, right? You see something, it angers you, it pisses you off, and all of a sudden you want to go beat somebody up, right? Not everybody, but that's how it works. The emotion is the catalyst to create the thought. So it's always, they'll tell you in marketing, I took a ton of marketing classes, you want to create the emotion within the people, right? But at the same time, when you understand you have a sound mind, you don't need to be affected by that, right? You don't need to be caught up and all of a sudden being emotionally triggered the moment something happens that maybe you don't agree with, or even on the other spectrum, maybe that makes you super excited, right? Because that's all it is. It's there to create an emotion within you, but you got to understand, in having love, power, and a sound mind, you don't have to become a victim to that. Case in point, the whole election situation. And you look back on social media, so much illness of the mind, and I'll say it that way, illness of the mind, or you could even say mild mental illness is prevalent because people scroll through, let's say Facebook, they scroll through Instagram, and immediately they're triggered. They're triggered by what they see of a person voting for the opposite candidate. And that is where we don't want to be, right? That's how we don't succeed, is when we get caught up in just other people's perspectives. Everybody has free will. Everybody decides whether they're going to vote for Trump or Biden or not vote at all. But give them that right? Give them that free will. Understand you don't have to get emotionally riled up about it, right? And that's a sign of mental illness, not extreme, but mild mental illness, when people are triggered emotionally by the sight of something that disagrees with how they see life. But doesn't have to be this way. And you can understand that you've already been given the blueprint, the power, the strength, the ability to have love, power, and a sound mind, a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. And you just have to embrace it, and you just have to take the steps that correlate to that, right? Get off social media. Like, if you're into TV, mute the commercials. I'll do that all the time. We'll mute the commercials when they come on, because all they're doing is advertising, trying to create an emotion within you to get you to think about buying stuff that you usually don't need, right? So go the extra mile to ensure that your mind stays sound and your mind stays healthy, and you'll see how much it benefits you in the long run. Okay. So number 3. So we were talking about this a bit in number 1, and this is kind of what I meant when I kind of just segued into number 2, but whatever things are of good rapport, think on these things. This is spiritual law, right? A spiritual concept telling you right away what you need to do in order to be fulfilled, in order to succeed. Whatever things are of good rapport, and this is not the full scripture, but whatever things are of good report, think on these things. So what does it tell you? It doesn't tell you to go think on war. It doesn't tell you to go think on violence. It doesn't tell you to go think on, judgment and everything that's wrong. It tells you, find what's right, find what's good, find what feels light, find what feels that makes you feel grateful. Hint, where's my abundance? It's the whole point of that, to get you to think on abundance and not on anything else that could take you down a notch from a mind's perspective, right? So in reading this, what does this tell me? This tells me that the author knew right away that it's of the greatest importance for us to think on things of good report. Why? Because if not, we become victims. We become subjected to things of the opposite nature, which then take our minds down to a lower vibration. And when your mind's at a lower vibration, all you can expect is fear. All you can expect is worry, stress, lack, struggle. That's all you can expect when you're vibrating down here. But if you take it up a notch and you go to the good rapport, imagine just being right where you are right now, even as you're watching this video, and you say, what can I be grateful for? Where's my abundance? Right? What is right in my life? What can I truly be thankful that I have? What situation has taught me how to be the very best version of me? And see, the mind is such a powerful force that it runs on neutral, but it goes with whatever you give it, right? So if your mind's betraying you, that means that you've been feeding it the crap that's set up to betray you. But if it helps you and it makes you stronger and it goes hand in hand with you making it stronger, that means you've been feeding it the right type of stuff. But if you're having issues, that tells us that we're not thinking on things of good report. And here's a news flash. Bad news doesn't need your attention, right? Things going on in the world don't need your attention, right? something can only affect you if you allow it to, right? No matter, even if you were to go on lockdown for the next 5 years, the only thing that would make you in trouble is when your mind just gave up and said, I can't do this anymore. Like you think of Nelson Mandela, you think of like those people who were in the Holocaust, and you think of these people who were pretty much in lockdown in prison, not mentally, but physically in prison for so many years. And mentally, they kept, their strength. They kept being strong. They kept focused on things of good report, right? Reuben Hurricane Carter. That's an amazing movie and an amazing story for everybody to see. Like, would not allow himself to ever mentally feel like a prisoner while he was in jail, falsely accused, learned how to be a lawyer, taught himself all these things. But the thing I find most just epic about that whole situation, and you should watch that movie because Denzel is great in it. He just wouldn't let himself be a prisoner. And so what did he do? He wouldn't allow himself to have certain things that prisoners would have, right? So he just stayed away from most of the guilty pleasures that they would take part in because he knew that would make him a slave. That would make his mind a slave to those things and needing those things. And then it gave the warden and the correctional officers the upper hand. So he always kept his power because he always dwelled on things of good report. He always thought on things of good report. And you can do this in your own life. And I'm telling you, when you do it, you find so much strength, right? So number 4, moving into this last one right here. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Okay. So I studied psychology for a while, for a while towards the end of my college career. And it was really great because it really enlightened me on how to see and observe people in their element without being caught up and not being able to comprehend the reality of who the person was. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically, psychology helped me to really understand who someone was right off the bat. Helped me to understand who someone was. And you know how? You just listen to how they talk, right? You listen to what comes from their mouth and you pay attention to it. And I'm going to explain to you why in here just a bit. But if you did not know me, if you did not know who I am, let's say you're on YouTube and you're scrolling through YouTube and Heart of Christ Ministry, Shaun Grant comes up and you're watching this, you can tell who I am by what is coming out of my mouth, by what I'm saying. That goes for everybody, right? I can tell who you are by what you say. And here's why. What you say is directly correlated to what you think the most, right? It's a direct correlation to what you're thinking the most. Some people try to lie and say certain stuff, but here's the thing. It never works. It never works. What people say is what they are. This is why that scripture, Proverbs 18:21, life and death are in the power of the tongue. It means life and death are in your speech, right? And your speech is rooted in your thoughts, right? Jesus said, be it unto you as you believe. What is believing? Believing or beliefs is just a fixated thought that you hold to be true in your life. So be it unto you as you believe, right? But getting back to this one, life and death are in the power of the tongue, which means what? Whatever comes out of your mouth is what you believe to be true. And what you believe to be true is what you're thinking, what your mind says, right? So getting back to people, let's say I just become friends with somebody and all of a sudden they can't talk about anything but tearing other people down. Right then and there, that's telling me who they are. They may not even consciously know it because sometimes behaviors just become second nature because they're so lodged deep into your subconscious mind, right? That most people don't even know what they're doing. When I see somebody complaining all the time, I can already tell right then and there what's happening within them. And most people are oblivious to this, but when you become an expert at seeing who somebody is by what they're saying, it makes life so much easier, because then you get to decide, okay, is this person for me? Is this person not? Right? If you're constantly complaining, what does that say about you? If you're constantly seeing lack, what does that say about you? Right? No judgment. It's just the truth of what it is. And the sooner we can understand that, the sooner we can get that, right? Because we have people in our lives who judge the heck out of everybody, right? Who talk about people for no apparent reason. That's just a subconscious corp of insecurity, right? Insecurity. You got to look at what people say, right? That's telling you what's brewing from a behavior standpoint. And then you take the opposite spectrum. You see people who are generous. You see people who always have a kind word to say. Somewhere in their heart, they feel the need to be that way towards the rest of the world, right? But when you look at that scripture again, life and death in the power of the tongue, all it's saying is that you can speak life or you can speak death, which turns out to be lower vibrational thoughts, feelings, and it just basically spirals you down the scale of enlightenment, the scale of vibration. So it's like, what are we going to choose, right? Are we going to think on things of good report, like we talked about, and choose life with our tongue, choose life with our speech, right? Even over your finances. You know, this is a prosperity ministry. Are you speaking death or life over your finances? I can tell you the state of your finances just by listening to what you say, right? The moment you say, oh, bills, I already know you're living in lack. You're holding on to your money. The moment you say, oh, I don't know about that, I got to see, right then and there. Speech, articulation, elocution, all reveals what someone is thinking. So in knowing that, focus on the things of good rapport, right? Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? Understand God has given you a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. And when you do, you're only going to speak life into your life. That's the whole point. We talked about this earlier in this episode about really cultivating the type of energy you want to see throughout the day. Because once you do that, your mind is running with it, and your mind's going to match up everything to that, because this is a world that operates on mind backed by spiritual concept, right? There you have it, guys. All right. So that wraps up today's message, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions about that, I was already getting to the seed sowing, but if you have any questions, any feedback, anything you'd like to share with Heart of Christ Ministry, write to us, ShaunG04@gmail.com. We got some questions coming in. I might do the Ask Reverend Shaun again, but I think we're good today. But we may implement that here down the road a bit. But yeah, any questions? Like I said, I'm not on social media at the moment. So if you have anything you want to talk about or get some insight about, ShaunG04@gmail.com. Hit it. Okay. Last but surely not least, if you find this message has benefited you, if you find a message in the past has benefited you, feel free to donate and sow a seed today to Heart of Christ Ministry. Your seed helps us to prosper and to grow and to reach more and more people around the globe with this timeless divine wisdom and information. So if you feel up to it, sow a seed today. Venmo, Heart of Christ Ministry, PayPal, ShaunG04@gmail.com. Thank you in advance for your generosity. Greatly appreciate you. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up today's message for this morning, this evening, this night, wherever it is that you're watching it. Thank you so much for your participation and your being here. You're greatly appreciated. We'll talk soon. It's good to be back. Take care. Bye-bye.
Every dream begins with a vision that sees everything before anyone else ever can. A vision that ignites the endless power to make all your dreams come true.